Hello and welcome to the Rebel Health Report. I'm Joe Rignola. After recalling more than 1.8 million boxes of so-called gluten-free cereal last month, General Mills is facing a class action lawsuit. Turns out that boxes of Cheerios labeled as gluten-free actually contained wheat flour. Wheat flour. Not sure if you know this, General Mills, but wheat contains gluten. Like, a lot. Lots and lots of gluten. It's filthy with gluten. But this is what happens when a behemoth food manufacturer tries to take advantage of a steadily growing market with total disregard for people's health. Here's an excerpt from the complaint. It reads, "By labeling products gluten-free, defendants created the misimpression that their products do not contain gluten and are therefore safe for those persons who may be sensitive to gluten to eat." General Mills responded by saying, "Wait, you mean this whole gluten-free thing is real? We're actually supposed to make sure there's no gluten in this stuff? We thought this was just some made-up first world problem, something white people fabricated so they had an excuse to replace breakfast with nothing more than an IV injection of butter and caffeine." Look, believing that big food manufacturers are telling the truth about what's in their food is like believing that high fructose corn syrup comes from some creepy talking bee pollinating corn. I don't place all the blame on General Mills, though. People need to realize that the sole purpose of these corporations is not to give a crap about the consumer. Their sole obligation is to the shareholders. They don't care if you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity or an intolerance to salmonella. By the way, General Mills has their own intolerance. They're intolerant to not increasing profits quarter after quarter. The health of their customers is not even an afterthought. And while a class action suit will likely cost them millions, it will still be a small fraction of the profits they make from these products. While I fully agree with the lawsuit, and I hope it costs them an ungodly amount of money, it's time for consumers to take responsibility for their health into their own hands. Let's stop relying on food labels that are often intentionally misleading. This isn't the first time food manufacturers have been guilty of this exact same issue, and it won't be the last, but hey, maybe it's a step in the right direction that this recall isn't because of food being contaminated with extraneous materials, i.e. plastic. We can no longer claim ignorance when it comes to our food. We have the information and the truth readily available, unlike generations before us. Let's stop pretending that just because the front of the package says that it's all natural or may reduce heart disease or it's gluten-free doesn't mean that we don't have the responsibility to call bullshit. It also doesn't mean that natural strawberry flavor isn't actually derived from the secretions of a beaver's anus. Not kidding. So we want to hear from you. Comment below and let us know what you think. Will General Mills learn a lesson from this, or is this just the cost of doing business in America? Perhaps if food manufacturers started labeling foods more honestly, we could start to trust them. Take a look at some of the examples in the images below the article.